For as long as any of us can remember, we've planned our lives around two huge things: our age and our education. They've basically been the map, telling us when we should retire and what kind of future we can expect. But what if that map is, well, just plain wrong? What if there are these hidden variables that are really running the show?
So, we're going to dive into some really fascinating new science that suggests the answer is a big, fat no. It really makes you ask, are we planning our lives with the right map at all? Let's get into it. Okay, so for pretty much everyone, life planning comes down to these two things, right? On one side, you've got your chronological age, how many candles are on the cake. That number dictates everything. And on the other side, there's your college degree. That's supposed to be the golden ticket to a better, healthier, wealthier life. Seems simple enough. But as it turns out, the reality is way more complicated.
All right, let's tackle that first big pillar: age. We all think we get it, but it turns out there's this secret layer to aging that might just solve one of the biggest puzzles in personal finance.
Okay, take a look at this. This chart shows something that's kind of stumped people for a while. It's the net worth of different households, all grouped by age. Just look at the line for age 70. See how the dots are, they're all over the place. Some folks have over $1 million, others have way, way less. If your birthday was all that mattered, these dots should be all bunched up. So what gives? Why the massive gap? Well, researchers are now thinking the answer isn't in their birth year, it's in their body.
And that, my friends, brings us to our first hidden variable: biological age. Now, this isn't some fuzzy new age concept. It is a measurable scientific fact. It's your body's actual age based on things like biomarkers. One of the big ones is telomere length. The easiest way to think about them is like those little plastic tips on your shoelaces, They stop your DNA from unraveling. And it turns out a person's biological age is a much, much better predictor of their future than the date on their driver's license.
But here is the absolute craziest part, the real game changer from all the research. Your biological age, it's not set in stone. In fact, through things like your diet, exercise, how you manage stress, it can actually go backwards. Yeah, you can literally get younger on a cellular level. It's not some fixed number, it's this living, breathing health asset that you can actually influence.
So what does this actually mean in the real world? Well, it's incredibly powerful. Let's just use the numbers. Imagine a 65-year-old person. If their body is working like it's 45, they're looking at more than 29 years of life ahead of them. They feel younger, they are younger biologically, and that means they can plan for a much longer, more vibrant retirement.
Okay, but now let's flip that coin. Same 65-year-old on the calendar, but their body's biological age is 85. Their health is worn down, and suddenly their life expectancy just plummets to less than 9 years. You see? This one hidden variable completely rewrites the script for their future, their finances, everything. And it helps explain that crazy scatterplot we saw earlier.
All right, so that's biological age. Now let's pivot to that other pillar we all lean on: education. A college degree is supposed to mean a longer, healthier life. But there's another hidden variable that's messing with that equation. And it all boils down to one thing: how we're paying for it. So to get to the bottom of this, researchers followed thousands of people and basically put them into 4 buckets based on their student loan story. Were they people who never had debt? Or people who had it but paid it all off? What about people who took on debt later in life? And finally, folks who've been carrying that debt load consistently. The answer, it turns out, has a huge impact on their physical health. And this chart, it lays out what they found, and it is fascinating. Now, as you probably guess, people who took on debt or were always in debt had a higher risk for heart disease down the road. No huge shocker there. But here's the real kicker, the part nobody saw coming. Look at that bar on the far left, the group that paid off their debt. They actually had the lowest risk of all, even lower than the folks who never had any debt in the first place. How wild is that? So, what is going on here? What's the physical connection? Well, it looks like it all comes down to chronic inflammation. That constant nagging financial stress from student loans seems to trigger this low-level, long-term inflammation in the body. They measured it using something called C-reactive protein. It's literally your financial anxiety showing up in your blood work. Okay, let's pause for a second. We've got our 2 big clues, right? Our internal body clock and this external financial pressure. Now it's time to put these 2 pieces together and see what this new map of our lives really looks like. So here they are, our 2 hidden variables. On one side, you've got your biological age, this internal, changeable health stock that you can grow.
And on the other side, you have legacy debt, this external, nagging financial stress that literally wears you down from the outside, impacting your health year after year. And the researchers themselves put it perfectly. You really can't say it any better than this. They concluded that the stress of student loans could attenuate, or in other words, weaken and diminish, the very health benefits that a college degree is supposed to give you. Think about that paradox for a second. The very thing you do to secure a better future could be quietly chipping away at your health. So this is more than just some interesting trivia, right? This points to a whole new way of planning our lives. So what does this new blueprint for well-being actually look like? What do we do with this information?
It really boils down to 3 big mindset shifts. First, stop staring at the calendar. Your birthday is just a number. Your biological age is the vital sign you need to watch. Second, we have to admit that financial stress isn't just in your head. It has a real, measurable physical cost. And finally, this is the big one. You have to integrate your planning. Stop thinking about your health over here and your wealth over there. They are one and the same system. You know, this research really blows the doors open on how we think about our future. We've just found 2 massive variables that were hiding in plain sight, proving that those old maps we were using, they were missing huge continents. So if your birthday and your diploma aren't the whole story, it really makes you wonder, right? What's the next hidden variable out there, just waiting to be discovered?